Imagine like a world where extinct animals are more than just like figures in textbooks, right? Where dodos are more than just a punchline. What if we could like hear the echoes of a mammoth's call in the Arctic? Or even see a Tasmanian tiger back in its habitat? Sounds like something out of science fiction.
Yeah.
Well, there's this recent article from The Independent, and they suggest it might be closer to reality than we think. So today, we're doing a deep dive into de-extinction, not just the how, but the why. We'll break down the science behind this crazy endeavor and really like explore the implications of it all.
It's a big one.
It really is. This isn't just about like scientific progress. It's really about rewriting the concept of extinction and maybe even adding a little star power to the mix.
Oh.
You know, someone like Paris Hilton.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so speaking of ambitious, the Independent article highlights Colossal Biosciences, you know, a company that's really at the forefront of all this de-extinction stuff. And get this, they think they can reintroduce mammoths by 2028.
Wow.
I know, right? And even more shocking, dodos or Tasmanian tigers might be back even sooner.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy, right?
That's incredibly ambitious.
That is.
Like, how is that even possible?
Right. To understand how that's even remotely possible, we need to look at the science behind de-extinction. And that's where you come in, if you don't mind.
Of course, of course. Well, I think it's important to start off by saying that de-extinction, it's not as easy as just cloning, right?
Yeah.
We're not talking about finding, like, a perfectly preserved mosquito in amber and just recreating dinosaurs like in Jurassic Park.
Oh, man. That would be something else.
It would be a game changer. But with de-extinction, we're talking about like a super advanced form of gene editing.
Okay.
Think of it like this. You have this puzzle, but there are some pieces missing. Scientists, they first identify these key genes that give an extinct animal its unique traits. Let's just say a mammoth, for example.
Okay.
They compare the mammoth's genetic code to its closest living relative, the Asian elephant.
And this is where it gets really interesting to me. I read that mammoths are actually more closely related to Asian elephants than Asian elephants are to African elephants.
It's true.
It's kind of wild.
Yeah, it really highlights the intricacies of the tree of life, you know.
Totally, yeah.
But going back to the puzzle analogy, scientists use these gene editing technologies. You've probably heard of CRISPR. It's like they're filling in the gaps in the Asian elephant's DNA.
Wow.
Essentially, they're rewriting parts of the elephant's genetic code to match the mammoth's.
So they're like rewriting life.
In a way, yeah. The goal is to eventually create an animal with those classic mammoth traits.
That's incredible. So they're not finding old DNA. They're like writing new DNA.
Exactly.
Wow. So it's like we're not just finding old DNA, we're like writing new DNA.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing stuff.
It is. It is. But this isn't just about bringing back the dodo, right? I mean, the article mentioned that.
You're right. Bringing back extinct animals is definitely like captivating. Who wouldn't want to see a dodo, right? But this technology, it's got way bigger implications.
Oh, sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Especially for conservation, right?
Exactly. And, you know, Colossal Biosciences, they seem to get it. They started their own foundation.
Right, right. And they've raised a ton of money. I think the article said something like $235 million.
Yeah, and then they added another $50 million on top of that, just for the foundation.
Wow. So they're putting their money where their mouth is.
For sure. And that kind of money is key because it lets them see how this technology can help endangered species that are alive right now.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the Colossal Foundation, they're actually working on projects with animals like the vaquita. It's like this tiny porpoise.
The vaquita?
Yeah, have you heard of it?
Yeah, yeah. Those are the ones that are really struggling because of like those illegal fishing nets, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's where Colossal's gene editing could really change the game.
How so?
Well, imagine being able to, like, enhance their genetic diversity, you know, and make them stronger, more resilient.
Give them a fighting chance.
Exactly. And it's not just the vaquita. They're also working with the northern white rhino, which are down to their last few individuals.
That's heartbreaking.
It really is.
It's pretty amazing to think that the same technology that could bring back a woolly mammoth could also be what saves these endangered species. It feels like we're like on the edge of a new era in conservation.
Totally. It's a huge shift. But like any new technology, especially one this big, it's not without its problems.
Right, definitely. The article mentioned that a bit, and it got me thinking. If we can actually reverse extinction, does that change how we see it? Like at all?
That's a really good question, and one we're going to have to deal with more and more as this technology gets better. Does it make extinction less final?
Right.
And if it does, what does that mean for all the species we've already lost? What responsibility do we have?
Wow. It's a lot to think about. On the one hand, we could right our wrongs, bring back ecosystems, even just a little piece of what's gone. But are we messing with things too much?
Yeah, it's like, are we playing God?
Exactly.
There are no simple answers, that's for sure. We need science to move forward, but we have to be so careful about what could happen. Like, what happens to the environment if we bring back extinct species? What could go wrong?
Right. And how can we be sure that all this actually helps animals alive today, that it doesn't hurt them?
That's the key.
It's a lot to unpack. This whole deep dive into de-extinction has been fascinating. A huge thank you to The Independent for the thought-provoking article and starting this conversation. And to you listening, we want to know what you think. What about the ethics of all of this? What species would you bring back? What does this mean for the future? Let us know.